Welcome to QUT Web News.
Good evening.
It's the day all footy fans hang out for each year. State of Origin, Game 1 kicks off tonight. Thousands of Queenslanders are already starting to arrive at ANZ Stadium to cheer on their beloved Maroons. But an away game hasn't stopped the hype here in Brisbane.
It's that time of the year again for the rivalry between Queensland and New South Wales to really reach fever pitch.
For that 80 minutes, it's mate against mate, it's state against state. Looking what they did to us in Game 3 last year, they obliterated the Blues. So
just last year, or?
Yeah. But some aren't so happy to be wearing blue. We're in Queen Street Mall, it's game day, I'm wearing my maroon, but I can't seem to find anyone that's wearing maroon. There's got to be someone. Where's your maroon at?
I'm a New South Welshman.
Oh.
So, not today, unfortunately.
Oh, you're
Sorry.
wearing New South Wales anyway, so you mustn't be that big of a fan.
It's a little bit of blue.
I'm a Queensland supporter.
Where's your maroon?
Corporate uniform, unfortunately.
But the Queensland spirit eventually came out of hiding. Go Queensland!
Queenslander! Queenslander! Queenslander!
Queenslander!
Even on the campaign trail, Origin made its mark, causing some embarrassing moments. The Sydney-based Prime Minister was handed a Maroons jersey.
Obviously a difficult time politically, but more so a difficult time in the rugby league world.
And the opposition leader got his teams a bit confused.
But also I have to say, the Storm, I think, are the underdogs slightly in the under the bookies market, and I'm partial to backing the underdogs.
Here at the Paxton, the heart of Queensland Rugby League, we've found some Queensland supporters.
Everybody still comes to the Caxton on an away game. It'll be shoulder to shoulder.
So here for a function and hopefully stay on and watch the game here and cheer Queensland home.
In Sydney, the invasion started early as the first ever Origin cruise docked in enemy territory. But there were still some Blue supporters on board. Zarisha Bradley, QUT News.
And Cooper Cronk has been cleared to take on the Blues in tonight's State of Origin opener. The halfback completed yesterday's captain's run without a hiccup. He'll be a key cog in Queensland's quest for the 2016 Shield.
Cronk was to be given right up until kick-off to prove his fitness, but a successful test run means there is no doubt that the Storm halfback will take to the field tonight. It's a relief for Queensland, who last year won off Cronk's boot in Sydney, his field goal the difference in Game 1. Cronk's selection will be no surprise to the Blues, who accused the Maroons of playing mind games.
I grew up in Ipswich and we don't know what smoke and mirrors are, so we're as honest as the day is long.
It's been alleged the Blues yesterday left game plan notes in a change room used by the Maroons, perhaps playing some games of their own. This will be Paul Gallen's last Origin series. He knows that tonight will be a bruising encounter.
You'll see some fireworks and fingers crossed, no matter what the weather is, we can pack this place out.
The Blues will run out with 5 rookies after last year's 52-6 thrashing in Game 3. James Maloney returns and will pair debutant Adam Reynolds in the halves, the Blues' 4th scrum-based combination in as many years. The Maroons add 2 first-gamers in Corey Oates and Justin O'Neill, among 10 players picked from the Broncos and Cowboys. Cameron Smith will overtake Darren Lockyer's games record in his 37th Origin, and millions will be hoping he can mark the occasion with a win. Bryce Heaton, QUT News.
The Prime Minister and opposition leader were both in Brisbane today. Malcolm Turnbull continued with his jobs and growth mantra, helped by strong growth figures and new polls showing the coalition edging ahead. Mr Turnbull says the figures show their economic plan is working.
Mr Turnbull spent the morning at an innovation hub in Brisbane's east with start-up companies playing compare and finding out about their businesses.
You can just tap on your phone right now and get your lawn mowed.
Right, actually just on the way in I could get my my pet babysat too.
That's true.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
He's promising them an additional $15 million to help start-up businesses get a leg up. The PM may have had a warm reception here, but it was a little frosty outside his hotel this morning.
Shame on you! Put the LNP last where they put Queensland!
There was some good news for the Prime Minister today, as new figures show Australia is growing at its fastest annual rate in more than 3 years.
The reason Australia's economy is growing is because our trade with the rest of the world is growing.
This confirms the direction we're leading the country in terms of our economic plan, but there is much more work to do. and we are seeking the support of Australians to complete that work on July the 2nd.
And the Treasurer says it's more evidence the jobs and growth message is working.
The Australian economy is continuing to grow, outstripping the world's most advanced economies, faster the United Kingdom, the United States, the Eurozone.
The Prime Minister returned to Sydney late today in time for the Origin kick-off. Abigail Blakey, QUT News.
And Bill Shorten used his time in the Sunshine State today to pledge Labor's funding commitment to renewable energy. He says it's the energy of the future.
What better place to talk up Labor's environmental platform than at the official opening of a wholesale solar power distributor?
And if Labor wins on July the 2nd, well, renewable energy, future for Australia, here we come.
Bill Shorten pledged a $100 million investment to set up 10 power hubs for small communities. The money will be used for both solar and wind power generation.
Because we know that by backing in renewable energy, it ticks the box of action on climate change, it ticks the box about helping downward pressure or keeping downward pressure on electricity prices.
Mr Shorten said Australia shouldn't be lagging behind the rest of the world. In other news, he clarified that if elected, Labor will only keep the deficit levy for 10 years.
We will have rigid budget discipline, but we will also got a real economic growth strategy for real jobs, which will prioritise funding our education system, TAFE, universities, schools, childcare.
Jobs and growth sounds familiar. Politics aside, the opposition leader will throw his support behind the Maroons team tonight at the first State of Origin match in Sydney. Paxton, Roth, QUT News. And the state government boosted its commitment to green energy. It will triple the amount of electricity generated by solar power.
The announcement came on the roof of QUT's Science and Engineering building at Gardens Point. It's here the university is harvesting power from these solar panels. Now, the government has even bigger power plans for the Sunshine State.
It makes sense for us to increase our commitment, in fact triple our commitment from the initial 40 megawatts to 120.
That commitment means a much bigger investment in farms like these, supported by vital research by QUT staff and students.
It's really important for us to actually have those facilities to be able to understand solar, to be able to actually look at how it works.
QUT hosts teams of students who specialise in the innovation of all renewable energy.
We're looking at making improvements to push their commercial value and bring down the costs so we can get them out as fast as possible.
From humble rooftop panels to massive power grids. Renewable energy not only depends on government support, but research from institutions like QUT and funding from commercial interest. The Solar 120 project will also aim to create hundreds of jobs in regional Queensland. Emily Helverson, QUT News.
An electric blanket is being blamed for a house fire that's left an elderly Brisbane couple with minor injuries. Neighbours gathered in the street, looking at what was left of the Victoria Point home.
What a difference a few minutes can make in somebody's life.
Firefighters say the man thought the blanket had stopped smouldering, but it caught alight a second time, causing most of the damage.
Both occupants are extremely lucky to be alive and have come out fairly unscathed given the circumstances.
The couple is expected to make a full recovery.
And fire authorities are warning people to check their heaters and appliances with the start of winter. They say Queenslanders need to be more vigilant in the cooler season.
Queensland Fire and Emergency Services are urging people to check their appliances, including all heating devices.
In Queensland last year, 541 fires started in the winter months. 171 of them were in Brisbane.
And he says it's not just about having a fire alarm, but also having a 15-second evacuation plan. Although winter officially begins today, there's been little sign of it so far. But experts say that's about to change.
Overall, apart from the rain, we're looking at conditions getting a little bit cooler and closer to average, probably just above average right on the coast and close to average inland as a result of that extra cloud from the rainfall. So it's definitely going to feel cooler. We've had a very, very warm autumn.
Today also marks the first day of winter mid-season sales.
It's been a mild start to the season, but retailers are confident the cooler conditions will boost sales.
Retailers, I guess, effectively plan about probably 12 to 18 months out for seasons. So most of the time they're very aware with seasonally warm winter periods that they will only stock a certain amount of winter clothes.
So get ready to grab a bargain and snap up your winter warmers now. Samantha Cheney, QUT News.
An armed man has attempted to rob a pharmacy in Sydney's southwest, but he was no match for a number of women inside the store. They fended off the robber, one woman using a walking stick.
The hapless robber made no attempt to disguise himself as he entered the pharmacy late yesterday afternoon. The cameras captured him heading straight to the back of the store. He grabbed the pharmacist roughly and threatened her with a sharp wooden implement, demanding drugs.
I'm a bit nervous, thought of my kids and my family, wanted to make sure all the staff was safe, and that was the first thing. Everything else didn't really matter.
Quick-thinking staff and customers grabbed items, including a walking stick, and gave the would-be thief a taste of his own medicine. It proved too much, and the suspect gave up and fled from the unlikely heroines of the day.
We're tough old girls. We've all been here a very, very long time, and we've been through this quite a few times. So I hope he's got a real bad headache this morning.
Detectives are still looking for the man. Kira Wallace, QUT News.
Good evening. First off, let's check on the Origin weather in Sydney. As you can see from these webcam pictures taken late this afternoon, it's gloomy and chilly, so don't forget to pop on that maroon scarf to stay warm. They're also predicting rain tonight. Perhaps there'll be some inside the Blues change rooms too. In Queensland's southeast, Brisbane woke to 16 degrees, but it got up to 24 throughout the day. 23 degrees for both the Gold and Sunshine Coasts, and Ipswich a chillier 12-degree morning. Around the nation tomorrow, more wet weather ahead for Sydney. Melbourne a top of 16 degrees, 21 in Perth and 34 expected in Darwin. Back to Queensland, Mount Isa should reach a top of 30 degrees. Cairns a shower or two on the way, 25 the top for both Mackay and Rockhampton, and a shower or two for Bundaberg. Finally, the outlook for Brisbane over the next 3 days, and get out the brollies. Looks like the showers right through until Saturday. That's the weather for tonight, and of course, go Maroons.
And that's all the web news we have for now.
We're back tomorrow with more QUT News. Goodbye.
Goodbye.